Yeah, good afternoon, Gary. How you going, mate?
Good, thanks. Mark, yourself?
Not too bad. We've got Gary Armstrong from Rockingham in Western Australia. Gary's a national judge and judged at this year's Nationals at Mandurah. I've just got 20 questions from Gary, for Gary, and I'm calling it 2020 with Gary Armstrong. And anyway, your first question, Gary, is what started your interest in budgerigars, mate?
Well, father used to be a beekeeper, and he used to go out in the bush, and in his spare time, or just before he come home, he'd grab all the young birds out of the trees and all this, and then later on, my wife, or my ex-wife, my first wife, she was interested in breeding recessive pieds, and so I went down to the pet shop and grabbed a few of those, and it just blew up from there.
That's very good, bloody interesting. And how long have you been in the hobby, Gary?
I've 22 years I've been in there.
22 years. You don't get that much for murder, do you? And what level do you show at, Gary, and what club do you show for?
I am in open grade, and I show at the Southwest Budgerigar Club and the Metro Budgerigar Club, which I'm a member of both.
Oh, rightio. I've got a couple of other mates over there in the Metro. And what varieties do you keep, Gary?
Recessive pieds, spangles, lacewings, opalines, dominant pieds, the normals and all that will all go to produce a good bird.
Now you need your good normals to breed any of those so-called weaker varieties, don't you?
Yeah, that's for sure.
And what's your best memory in the hobby, Gary?
Winning the Nationals 2002, 2001 in Perth with a spangled double factor, white. Everybody remember that bird. It was quite a nice bird. Yeah, he was a fantastic bird. I call him Pretty Boy.
No worries. No, I don't mind the double factor spangles myself either. And if I was to ask you, whose bird room would you like to spend a day in having a one-on-one budgerigar chat?
Oh, Joe Manus. I love to go to him. There's a few other breeders. If I couldn't get to Joe's place, I'd love to go and talk to over in Europe. There's Paul Stannard. I'd love to get over to his aviary and have a look. And there's a few other breeders. I like to spend a day just wasting my time away asking silly questions, I suppose, with them.
Yeah, those sort of the internet and Facebook and these sort of mediums have opened up the world, really, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Yes.
And whose bloodlines influence your stud, Gary?
Mine. I started getting a bit of action when I found out that I had a bit of Manus blood in my birds, and topless. The topless birds were quite interesting. They had the saddlebags, and I happened to acquire a bird, and that helped out me Manus line a fair bit because they seem to be a little bit flat on the top of the head.
Oh, rightio. That's very interesting too. Name your 3 top budgerigar breeders in Australia, Gary. You don't have to be in any order, but who do you class as the 3 best?
Well, I can't put my hand on 3 best breeders because I don't believe that there's a lot of aviaries I'd go around to before I made that decision, because I think a lot of the breeders have big pockets. And they're good breeders, the really good, what we call the good breeders in Australia. They have deep pockets and they borrow a lot of good birds from other breeders. And that is the problem with the hobby. There is some good breeders, and there are breeders with big pockets. So I'd rather say there's, I'll call yourself a pretty good breeder because you've got pet birds and you breed them up. Okay, you don't go and spend the big money on them.
Do I have to pay you later for that answer?
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll move on. What was your best ever bird and for what reason?
It was that double factor for Tasmania was the best one I ever bred. People were saying that was 10 years in advance. Well, they'll leave that in their memories to think like that. I'd rather think move on. But that guy, he did produce the the double factor was 2001 winner, who produced the two double factors in 2002, which went to Tasmania, and they got first and second there. So they were pretty good birds, yes.
No, you'd be over the moon with that bloke.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, he was a pretty good bird. He only bred me about 3 or 4, but his father bred 35 chicks. I even got the records here. Before he went to the National in 1997. So, that's just luck, I suppose.
You still got some of that line over there, obviously?
Very, very little, but because I lost the majority of them back in since 2003 onwards up to they seem to dwindle away because for about 3 or 4 years I put them on the wrong type of diet, which wasn't good for them. So a lot of birds, the immune systems dropped out of the birds, and of course they died and they didn't breed. But I still got a couple.
No worries. What car or motorcycle do you drive or ride, mate?
No, I don't have a Harley, but I wouldn't mind one. But
You're never too old, mate. Never too old.
Never too old. That's right. Just the money's the problem. No, I got a Isuzu D-Max, a fantastic vehicle, I reckon. Anyway, and a little Hyundai, which I drive to work, and I let the missus drive the Isuzu D-Max to work.
Yeah, we know who the boss. We know who the boss there is.
Yeah, you're right there.
Anyway, name a person who you'd most like to have dinner with, Gary.
Oh, you and your missus, Hawke.
No worries. When you come over to Dubbo, mate, that won't be a problem.
No, I'm sure it won't be. We'll be going through there one day.
Whose shout is it? That's all I'm worried about. Must be mine. I owe you a feed, don't I?
It's mine.
If you could only show at one show, which would it be?
Nationals every year, mate.
No, I'm with you there. What would you do if you won the lottery, Gary?
Well, I'd find a place where I could breed budgerigars all year round. I'd have a couple of maids, a pretty good block, and a bloody good aviary, and which I could manage quite easily. And I have a couple of maids, and they do all the work.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's only a dream. Is there?
That's the way to be. If you're going to be any good in this hobby, you need something like that.
Is there anything in budgies that really irritates you, Gary?
Big pardon, say it again.
Is there anything that irritates you in the hobby, mate?
In the hobby, just people that they get the wrong idea of what we're trying to do, and people trying to tell. We breed exhibition budgerigars. Our hobby is about exhibition budgerigars, and people trying to come in there and try and tell us we're doing it wrong. We shouldn't be doing this and that to the birds. But the birds are developing. We aren't giving them injections to make them grow like that.
Yeah.
A good breeder will produce good birds, which will be to a standard that we all like. And anybody can be a judge of a bird and pick a good bird. You don't have to be a judge. And on top of that, the infections in the birds, 2 infections I don't like is French mold. Cost me a lot of nationals, I reckon, over the years, and plus megabacteria, which is if you get the immune system of the birds to drop there, which is quite common practice in most aviaries, you will lose your good birds, you know. And
it's
I look at my average, it's 4
It's
or
always
5.
the best one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favourite movie, Gary, and actor?
Oh, Gallipoli and Crowe, mate. He's I like that movie, quite good. It was a bit adventurous. How he done that movie, I thought it was very good. The Diviner or something, I think it was called. And it's about Gallipoli and all this. You know.
Oh, Water Diviner.
Yeah, the Diviner, Water Diviner, yeah. Something like that. That was cool. That was quite a good movie, yeah.
No worries. And what's your favourite food, Gary, and your favourite restaurant?
Look, any restaurant's good. As long as it's got good cuisine, you know, and all different types of food all over the world. As long as it's edible, I'll eat it.
What football team do you follow, if any?
West Coast Eagles, mate. AFL, mate. There's only one team.
Yeah, commiserations. The mighty Hawks got over them, didn't they?
Oh, don't worry about Hawkies. I was in Singapore at the time, would you believe? Trying to
half your luck. Are you in a relationship? Well, I know that answer.
Of course I am. Only with my wife.
No, she got a name, has she?
Yeah, Dolores. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
No worries. And what's your occupation, Gary, to finish up?
I'm a planner. I'm a mechanical fitter by trade, and I hopped out of that and went into the office, the air conditioning, and getting a little bit old, and took a planning role and chase up parts and all this. Yeah, it's pretty full on. Yeah, I think I work harder now than what I was when I was on the tools.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Gary, thanks for your time, mate, and it was a pleasure to spend time with you over there in WA after the Nationals, and yeah, look forward to catching up again. Hopefully you might visit over this way, and you're welcome to stay at my place anytime you like, you and Dolores. Anyway.
Thanks, Mark. That was, thanks for the interview, and I was certainly looking forward to travelling over New South Wales. I've never been to a Nationals I'm lying. I went to a Nationals in 1996, 97. I don't know, first Nationals in Blacktown. We had.
No worries.
That was very, very good Nationals.
Well, might if we can make it, we might see you in Hobart. I'm not sure if I'm going yet either, but
I don't know if I'll be going there yet, mate. It all depends, you know. I need a little bit of a rest after this year's holiday in Singapore.
No worries. Anyway, anyone that sees Gary around the traps at a show, very approachable bloke and very knowledgeable. So anyway, Gary, I'll hopefully see you sooner rather than later, and I might have you on one night as a guest on the BSNSW Facebook group, answering a few questions for our breeders. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you later, mate. Bye.
Okay, cheers.